Bema, this morning's speaker, Mark Singer. For 35 years, Mark ran a financial planning firm on the North Shore. He was also a talk show host on TV and on radio, as well as a weekly newspaper columnist. He created YouTube videos, had his own channel on YouTube, and posted over 200 videos. In his spare time, Mark wrote 4 books. And now you can add that he's a stroke survivor. To come and share his story, we invite Mark Singer to be here.
Thank you, Rabbi. I'll get there.
Okay. Are we mic'd? We're gonna make sure you mic'd. You're gonna reel him right up here, yeah. Perfect. How's that?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, I think. Rabbi, thank you. Today I want to share with you the lessons I have learned while recovering from my stroke. The big message is to slow down and go through life with your eyes wide open. I was leading an active lifestyle, running 3 businesses, playing golf 3 times a week, going to the gym religiously, enjoying grandparenting, traveling, and boating in the summer. My mantra was always to enjoy the journey. And then on October 21st, 2022, I hit a bit of a detour. On the 2nd hole of my golf course, my friends were saying to me, "Singer, it's your turn. Singer, it's your turn." I couldn't move, I was frozen. I realized something was going on. I was having a stroke. And they put me into my golf cart and drove me to the front of the club, where an ambulance was waiting to take me to Beverly Hospital, where they were going to administer stroke clot medication, but unfortunately it did not work. And then they sent me to Leahy, Burlington, where doctors then tried again, and it didn't work again. So apparently the stroke, the clot was too big and they couldn't break it up. But by then, the damage had already been done. I could no longer speak or eat or swallow or use the left side of my body. And then they transferred me to Beverly Hospital, where I stayed for a couple of months. And I tried to regain some of my skills, but I wasn't very successful at the time. So they decided to transfer me to Spalding Rehab, where I stayed a month or 2. And there, on a daily basis, I did physical therapy, again with very little success. I guess I was very stubborn. And from there, since I was making no progress and they felt they couldn't do any more good, they sent me to the Brutnick Center in Peabody, where I've been for the last 2 years, trying to regain my skills. Initially, with physical therapy, I was able to take a total of about 3 steps in a row with assistance. And I could never get to the 4th step. It was very frustrating. My physical therapist said he would have given up long ago, but I didn't. So I kept trying to go forward. Until recently, with the assistance of 2 physical therapists, I took 33 steps, not all in a row, but I did take 18 in a row. And then 15, which was good since the previous record was 14. Thank you. it used to be a mind game. I used to say in my head, okay, left leg move, and then occasionally it would go. Now I have more control over it, which is great. With a whole new outlook. Now, to move forward, my mantra needs to change. Instead of enjoy the journey, it is now slow down and enjoy life with the eyes wide open. Sometimes life's challenges force us to slow down to fully experience the present moment. It's not always about achieving monumental goals, but about acknowledging small daily steps that lead to many meaningful transformation. Some of the lessons I have learned. The big one was the importance of mindfulness. Now, I'll be honest with you, whenever I was at a conference and some life coach started to get up there talking about mindfulness, I thought it was a bunch of psychobabble baloney. I was like, what? I don't need that. Now I understand it. And it's about appreciating the present moment, being there and fully being aware, being conscious. And mindfulness has helped me to slow down. And in slowing down, I now celebrate a lot of life's little victories along the way. I now have a new definition of mindfulness. It is to go through life every day with purpose and intent to find all the little victories you can. I'll start with one right off for you. How many of you have reached that stage where you no longer sleep through the night, right? Going to the bathroom worried about loved ones, right? You ever wake up one morning and go, ooh, I slept through the night, right? If you do, sit on the edge of the bed and say to yourself out loud, that was great, I slept through the night. Don't let anybody hear you. You'll think you're a little crazy, right? But these little, very little minor victories that you have to see with your eyes wide open. One of the other things I've found is strength, and I recognize that it's no longer just physical, it's also mental and emotional. And then there's a word that I've come up to that nobody would have used to describe me before. The word is patience. Except that the recovery is not linear, and learning to appreciate each moment of improvement, which has all led me to being the power of positivity, which I never really understood before, but it's huge. It's easy in difficult times to be consumed with what you have lost. But I made a conscious decision to change that, so I now live by what is, not what if. And this mindset shift has become the foundation of my recovery. And studies show that the number one predictor of success is maintaining a positive outlook. I chose to celebrate each milestone, no matter how minor it seemed. Positivity doesn't erase struggles, but it provides the resilience needed to move forward. I have made a conscious effort to be grateful for something every single day. And I discovered that positivity is a practice, one that requires effort but pays off immensely. Now I'll tell you a little story if you promise not to tell my family and friends, okay? Shh. So early on in my recovery, they would come to support me and they would remark how positive I was. And it was like I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Positive, I didn't feel positive. So I figured out that I was trying to put on that strong face so people would see me with strength. And I decided that I would fake it until I made it. So I tried out this positivity thing for a while until it became me, and now it is me. And that positivity has led me to inspiration in various places that I had never seen before. The first inspiration was from a simple fortune cookie. It said adversity is just the door to opportunity. And here I am in front of you today. And then another inspiration came from watching Shark Tank. As soon as I was done with that episode, I called Cheryl up and I said, I'm going to start a business. This was like Sunday at midnight. She's like, what? And here I am a year later, in front of you guys. So we'll see. So there's also the power of a healing prayer. I was here for a Saturday healing program a few months ago. I think it was during the High Holy Days. And the rabbi was having us read responsively a prayer called I Rise. And every time I said I rise, I visualized myself standing up. Until finally we finished the prayer and I said, screw it. Well, I was a little more colorful than the screw it, if you know what I mean. I'm not about to say that right now, Rabbi, okay? All right? But you know what I mean. And I said, all right, I'm standing up. So Cheryl was on my left side. I said, please help me. And Larry Lou was in front of me. I said, could you please help me on my right side? I want to stand. And I did. And I stood as tall as I could. And when I sat back down, it felt so good. I said, screw it again. Let's stand back up. So we did. And I immediately grabbed the rabbi and told him the story. Now, all these lessons have allowed me to access a reservoir of power and resilience that I never knew I had before. Now, my progress is undeniable. Immediately after my stroke, my only means of transfer out of the bed was by use of a Hoyer lift. Think of it as an electronic sling, where they put this sling underneath me and pick me up out of the bed, and the machine comes and picks me up and puts me in my wheelchair. But I could only spend 15 minutes at a time in the wheelchair because of painful spasms in my leg, and they'd have to then take me out of the wheelchair and put me back into bed. Today, I no longer need a Hoyer lift. I use a slide board. Think of it as a piece of wood about 3 feet long, where I sort of hop up onto it. And if it's positioned properly, I can slide from the bed to the chair and from the chair back to the bed. Now, what's even better than that is I can now spend several hours at a time in the chair. And that allows me to go in and out of the nursing home as I please. I can now use the elevator, go to the courtyard, read my book, and sit outside and get some fresh air. So life has changed. And I go outside with a whole renewed set of eyes and energy. And I see things I didn't see before. So, Rabbi, by the way, I didn't want to miss this. I'm guessing this is the first time a fortune cookie and a healing prayer were mentioned in the same sentence, right? So my final motivation and inspiration is from song. You know the band Journey. So their song, Don't Stop Believing. That's my new personal anthem. Whenever I feel down and I hear that song, it kicks me and it gets me going positive again, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Actually, Cheryl and I just this week, we're spending a couple of hours again going over the speech. I don't know how we didn't kill each other. But by the time we were done, Cheryl was walking out the door and Don't Stop Believing came on the radio. I said, Cheryl, listen to this. She goes, what? I said, Don't Stop Believing. She said, no way. I said, yes way. So it's all good. So as I go to wrap up, I hope that by sharing my experiences and my outlook with you will give you a new way to look at life. The journey may not be easy, but with intention and mindfulness and a belief in the power of small victories, transformation is always possible. So I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here, Rabbi, and thank you for coming and listening. I hope it's been helpful. So if I may, before we finish and open it up for any questions, I'd like to ask you for a favor. This is the first time I've been out to speak since my stroke, and I'm hoping to do more and share my message to as many people as possible. So if any of you are members of any organizations or businesses where you think this message may be well received, I'll be out having lunch. Please come and get me and give me the name, okay? Thank you very much. I can't do this without a collagen shirt. Oh my God.
So we're going to open it up for questions first.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you so much, Mark. I just wanted to share with you that the Talmud says that we're supposed to say 100 blessings every day. And oftentimes it's taught in a very literal sense. And Maimonides, the rationalist, will go through and say, if you live a traditional life, here's exactly how you're going to get to 100. You got 19 in the Amidah 3 times a day, that gets you to 57. You say the Birkat Hamazon, you got 4, you know. And then I finally learned, just listening to you, is that when you slow down and keep your eyes open and see each little moment as a victory and a time of gratitude, that might be much closer to what the truth of the Talmud is trying to tell us. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You can formulate your own questions. Let's see if any immediate hands are going up while you're thinking about those questions. Okay, we've got Sherry. Let me ask just one question first, Sherry, and then we'll turn it to you. You know, as I experience what you have to share, I hear the words, but part of me says, he must have been this person before. You must have been totally positive and gung-ho and seeing the world in such a beautiful way. So just for myself, if you would just sort of repeat a couple of the things that you feel that you have really worked so hard to do to transform yourself to be the success in your recovery. If you just repeat some of the things so it sinks in for me, and then we'll take Sherry's question.
So I'll tell you a news story. How's that? Yeah. Is that all right? Yeah. So when I first got moved up to the 4th floor at the Brubnick Center, my cook, Mary, said she knew that I would walk out of there. And I said, why? She said, because you're stubborn. I said, oh, I thought that was something negative. But now I've replaced stubborn with determined, which is positive. So I've tried to turn everything into as positive as I can. I try to go through life and turn everything into something good. By the way, I'll give you my smallest victory, and I challenge you each and every day to find something really, really small to celebrate. So for 2 years, I couldn't on my own charge my phone. So I had to ask for an aide to take my phone and put it on my charger. Recently, I've figured out how to put my charger on my bed at a certain angle, and I can now charge it up. Whenever I feel the click, I go, ooh! And again, I hope nobody's around when they put me away. So I get a charge out of my phone getting charged. It's a really little thing. But yes, I've always been determined. I guess if we turn that stubborn SOB into something that was me, I guess that was me. I guess it's a good thing now.
Let's see, it's right there.
First of all, thank you for sharing. You have inspired all of us, I think.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And I wondered, you said that you couldn't speak after your stroke, and you speak beautifully now.
Thank you.
What kind of a process was that to regain your speech?
Time. And I've been fortunate that I've been able to get my speaking abilities back. But it's funny because I asked my friends when they came in, how do you hear me? Is it okay? Because to me, it doesn't sound good. It's just something internal, but so after a while, when everybody said it's fine, I stopped asking. But now I guess I'm okay. Thanks.
Very fine and clear.
There's a question back in.
I'm gonna take the youth question first, and then I'm gonna go to the back corner. There you go.
Hi, my name. Hi, my name is Lily. And how do you think positively when you're sad?
I couldn't understand.
think
Could you
positively
repeat it?
understand?
I'll help her. She asked, how do you remain positive, like when you're feeling sad, what do you do to keep positive and think in that?
I just consciously make a decision to find something good and to keep going. It's just a mental state of mind that's really more than anything else. It's not easy. But after a while, it just sort of becomes your normal way of living. Occasionally, Cheryl will come in and she'll regret about us not being able to do the traveling we used to, and I'm the one who keeps saying, no, we'll be fine. We'll find a way to do it. It'll just be different. And we've gotten out into the community, which has been great, and we've had great times. We've laughed a lot. We've been out with friends. And so it's still a journey. As you can tell, my recovery is a work in progress, but we're getting closer. Yes.
Morning, hi Mark.
Hi. Heidi.
I too share motivational strategies with you and mindfulness techniques. And you are a real source of strength, and so is Cheryl. I have to really acknowledge Cheryl. But I do want to ask you about internal motivation and external motivation, and how do you sustain that? How do you motivate yourself? Is it more internally or towards something externally?
Well, it's internally, but I will say that every morning and every night I get up or go to sleep and I sort of say a prayer. Every single morning I say, okay, let's have a good day. Free of pain, please. I always say please and thank you. So please, free of pain today, and whatever it is I'm supposed to do, please, like my ride today, the transfers, I will literally say out loud, let's have a good, uneventful series of transfers from the ride. Or if I'm having a shower, let's have a good shower, an uneventful shower. And at the end of the day, I will say thank you. And glad we had a day free of pain. And I'm glad that the ride was good. And I'll recount and accumulate all the big little victories I had during the day. Every single morning, every single night. I just keep doing that over and over again. It keeps the momentum going. Yes.
I don't have a question. I just have to say that you are an inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Here's a question, or an observation as well as a question. You certainly embodied this for us. You talked about other attributes, and just skills. But how about, have you always had a great sense of humor? And can you talk about humor? Because we know how.
So I'm not sure, a lot of my family would say great sense of humor.
It's funny.
But is that
I
something-
tried.
Is that something you've acquired over the time?
Yeah, I've had that
That's-
weird sense of humor, is I think how my family would put it. Yeah, I find humor in places that most people don't.
It's so human.
That's good.
And I have a couple of aides, when they come in, all we do is laugh. And there are two other little things I've learned along the way. One is laugh. And at the worst times, try to find something funny, turn the twist on it whenever the ride puts me in. And you ever watch Silence of the Lambs with Hannibal Lecter, and he's got the mask, right? And whenever the lift comes up and it's right against my face, I sort of go like this. Again, hoping that nobody's looking. But I always try to find something funny with somewhere. Doesn't always work, does it? But I've got a couple of aides who just love coming in, because all we do is laugh. The other thing that I've learned, or I try to learn, is to breathe. I don't always do that well, but breathing lowers the blood pressure. Breathe a couple of times when you're feeling stressed, or you're feeling down and you want to re-energize yourself. How do you do it? Maybe take a couple of breaths and take a shift. And that'll take the stress down a little bit and take your blood pressure down a little bit. Any more questions?
Eric, if you could keep an eye on the hallway, I think we may have children in the hallway. They're gonna come out of this side. Okay, so are they in the hallway right now? Okay, we'll ask one more question, and then when they come in, that'll be our signal to wrap up. But then, ready with a final question. Mark, if maybe you could just tell us a little bit about, in terms of the people that you've encountered on the journey.
Oh.
What's been most helpful, and have different people played different roles?
The staff at the Brudnick Center, oh my goodness, what they have done for me is incredible. And then there's the food. Oh. Oh yeah, we are part of a couple of stroke support groups, and I've done a lot of reading. There was a Australian sprinter, his name was Michael Johnson. After his retirement, he had a stroke. And one of the things he talked about in his podcast was that when he used to go out and practice, he would recognize the most minor differences in his run. Minor. And when you run a 100-meter race, 1/10 of 1 second is a lot. 1/100th of a second is a lot. But he thought he was well on his way to recovery because he could see all the little minor victories and all the minor adjustments that need to be made. So I always tried to read or find something or listen to one of our stroke calls and get something from it. And I do a lot of reading. It's great, it helps pass the time. And that's where patience comes into play too. Boy, there's a lot of time. The other thing I recognized was, before my stroke, every 5 minutes if I was sitting down, I would get up and go somewhere. Well, now I can't do that, so what do I do to get up? I open my book. Or I go outside and read it. Yes?
What do you read? What type of?
Any brainless book that's out there, I'll read it. Baldacci, Grisham.
What is it?
Baldacci, David Baldacci or John Grisham, read a lot of that.
It's not motivational stuff then?
Not really, no.
It's escaping.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
anything to take me away from where I am.
I'm with you.
Read it for 20, 30 minutes, it's great.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Singer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Friends, it's only appropriate that you remain standing, that Israel's national anthem is an echo of Mark's speech, as you know that our national anthem is Hatikva, the hope. And Mark, you have given us all so much hope. We invite the youngsters to come in, we'll chant Hatikva, we'll make Kiddush, and then we'll have lunch together.